looks intense.
Very
All right,
intense.
we've been hearing some buzz about this show. It's about 16 strangers. They're embarking on a once-in-a-lifetime journey through the treacherous New Zealand Alps in an attempt to reach the peak of a distant towering mountain.
Yeah, with their backpacks containing an equal share of $1 million, the group must traverse an exhausting distance in just 14 days in order to win the cash they're carrying.
Yeah, and joining us now this morning, Manu is here from the show. We're so glad to have you here. First of all, I mean, you lost me at cold and steep. I mean, the backdrop looks absolutely spectacular, though. What was it like shooting the show there?
$1 million. Listen, if you offer people $1 million while they're climbing up a very steep mountain, you know, somebody's going to push somebody off a cliff. So it's very challenging, you know. I mean, look, there's 16 ordinary Americans that come to New Zealand, and they knew they were on a reality show, but they didn't know they were going to climb this thing, and they're standing in the middle of a valley, like the scene in Lord of the Rings. And I point at Mordor and I say, you're going to reach that summit. And they just all collectively sigh and realize that, you know, this is no joke. And then I put a bag of $1 million in front of them, and all of a sudden their brains start thinking again.
Well, Manu, we hear your voice. You have such a deep voice, you know, a very strong voice. It makes it really serious when you hear you describe all those instructions of what these people have to go through. Do you see the fear in their eyes when they first see that mountain and they hear your voice?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, one girl goes like, "What?" Yeah, some of the mothers are standing there going like, what time have I got to be home to cook dinner? You know, it's like, it's so funny, but it's not funny at all. It's terrifying, you know. But, you know, I mean, this is really where, you know, our show differs from, like, you know, other reality shows. You know, we're going straight up. You know, old Jimmy Chin would be there with his camera taking photos if he saw some of these guys clinging from the side of the mountain.
So, Manu,
but yes.
So you said that they knew they were going to be on a reality show, but they did not know what they would be doing, and the goal is to work together. How are they getting through this?
Right?
Not very easily. And you know, that's the challenge of our show. That is the summit. You know, all these people are interviewed. Everything's taken into consideration. I mean, the safety on our show is like second to none. We have people from all around the world. You know, climbers from all around the world. They're part of this show that have summited, you know, all the major ones, and they know what's going on this mountain. You know, at every turn, there's always, you know, a great deal of judgment calls and knowing which routes to take. There's various routes in which they'll take depending on whether there's going to be an avalanche.
Right?
Oh my
Can you
goodness.
imagine that?
It's so much to think about.
I don't even want
It's
to.
crazy.
And it's cold.
That's what it is.
And those eliminations must be really brutal too, because you would think they become friends and then they have to let go of some of them. How does that work out?
Like, it's like Cliffhanger, you know, that opening scene where they've got the hand and one just goes, ah. Literally, we're losing people every day, and that's the you know, that's the elimination part of our show. Instead of the flame goes out on Survivor, you know, somebody ends up falling down the mountain, you know.
Well, there's no shortage of drama, it seems, Manu.
I beg your pardon?
I said it seems like there is no shortage of drama, and the summit is already getting so much buzz.
I'll tell you this: as they go closer and closer toward the summit, this whole show changes. So, you know, it starts off, you know, you know, they wander into the wilderness, you know, a bunch of school kids, you know, a bunch of Boy Scouts and Girl Guides sort of, you know, skipping up a river, and then bit by bit, this mountain deals with them, you know, in a very specific way that only mountaineers and climbers would know. So by halfway point of our series, they're going up like this, you know. It really becomes a challenge, a real challenge, and you know, like people might say that, you know, fitness rules and things like this, but it doesn't. You know, when it comes down to the way that this group behaved amongst each other, you know, there was a lot of empathy in the group. but also, strategically, they're having to play this game where, they can't go too slow because they've got a certain amount of time to reach the summit. But if you think you're the king jock out the front, who's going to get to the top first, there's a big target on your back already, So there's, I can't say how it plays out, but everybody has a target for some reason, and this is how the show slowly goes one by one. They get knocked off the hill. It's a bit like Lord of the Rings in that there's like a ring at the top of the mountain, but our ring is $1 million, and so we've got like 16 golems that are all going, oh my precious,
Well, Manu, we are so glad that you were here with us this morning. Can't wait to check it out Wednesday at 9:30. This summit. Thanks so much for being here.